Welcome to Build with Rob. I am Rob Dyrdek, your host. I'm also the founder and CEO of the Dyrdek Machine, a one-of-a-kind venture creation studio where we manufacture amazing companies through a little thing called systematically fusion art, science, and magic. We also like to manufacture amazing lives, and on this show, we love talking about both. How can we all just live amazing? How can we live amazing? How can we all just create amazing, successful, sustainable, profitable companies and build extraordinary, amazing, successful, happy, high-quality lives? Isn't that what we're all seeking out here? That is what this show is all about. Wherever you listen to this show, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button. And as always, you want to join me on this show and just talk business and life strategy, go to dyrdekmachine.com and create a video, upload it. Let's become friends, because I really feel like that's what happens. You know, this show, a lot of different things can happen. Sometimes, it leads to us getting together after the fact. Sometimes I might actually end up deciding to invest in your business. Sometimes I might send you the rhythm of existence and teach you my strategy on how to really live a highly optimized life if you're up for it, and I think like this show has really evolved way past what I had ever even considered what it could be. When I initially decided to do it in the first place, and it leads me to this concept that everything is hard when you do it at first. It's this idea that anything that you want to do, it's always going to be so much different when you actually go and do it versus how you planned it, versus how you thought you wanted to do it, versus what you expected it would be when you started it. But for the most part, anytime you do something new, it's always much harder in the beginning than you anticipate. And look, this is everything, right? This is, you're going to start a new job. Oh, it's going to be amazing. And then it's trying to figure out people, trying to understand like the rhythms and relationships and all this stuff. Like you move into a new house. It's like, oh, all these things, you know what I mean? You start a company. Oh, it's like, I already know this industry. Like, this is going to be great. And then like, it's all of these difficult intangibles you didn't realize, because when you built the company in the same industry before, you had a great operator that handled all these things that you thought were less complex. Like, there's all these aspects of doing something for the first time that make it really difficult. And while you go through the process of doing it, it begins to get easier over time. And I think if you can take the time to realize and set your own personal expectations every time you do something new, that there is going to be sort of a process of learning, evolving, and growing until it gets past a certain point where it finds a rhythm to where it is more natural, organic, and you can enjoy it the way that you envisioned it when you first started it. And you can apply it to the way that you build a company. And it's very similar to the process of product market fit. You always go through the process of putting together your plan and your strategy and everything that you want to do. But once you get it out there, then it begins to reveal itself of all the things that you're doing, whether or not they're working or what adjustments you should make, the things you need to change, the things you need to rethink in order to ultimately find product market fit and find a successful business. And it applies to everything. When you create a television show, it seems like, oh, you just created a show. In most cases, you shoot a television pilot and you learn so much about the television pilot, which is essentially just one episode that's not even part of the series. You just do it. It's like a proof of concept in television. And they're essential because you basically get your first step of making it for real. And then you realize, okay, here's all the different things I need to do to adjust that. And I'll use Ridiculousness as an example. When we shot the pilot, It took us 18 hours. We got there at like 6 in the morning and left late at night to shoot a 22-minute pilot. It was grueling. It was intense. I was trying all these different things, because you just don't, even though you had a really clear concept of what the show would be, you don't really know how it's going to work exactly till you do it. But we learned so much. Then when we went to shoot the series, now we prepared like, hey, we're probably going to be able to shoot like 1 or 2 of these a day max, right? And then be prepared for these grueling all-day shoot days, and we added all of these bells and whistles to it, and had to continually do all these reads and different things. But then through that process began to realize like, we're actually, by putting so much structure to the way we're doing it, it's pulling away from the best part of it, which is ultimately the way that it feels natural when we're just flowing with the clips and having fun. And then eventually over time, it then settles into, okay, all right, now we can do 2 a day easy. All right. Yeah. Let's do 2 before lunch. Okay. Now we could do 3 a day. Oh, let's do 3 before lunch. Oh, now it's even more optimized. By the time you get to season 25, you're doing 6 a day, in a few hours, where before you could barely do 1 in 18 hours, and that is sort of the process for almost anything you do for the very first time. It reveals itself to you, and it's a difficult struggle of evolution that you go through on anything you're doing for the first time. And again, if you can just put yourself in a place of personal expectations and understanding that this is the process that I'm going to go through to ultimately understand if this is what I like, and if it's for me, and if I believe it'll be successful and lead me to the quality of life that I expected from when I decided to do this new thing, because so often we get so excited about the new thing and what it could actually mean for us. New relationship, new job, this company, this podcast, all these different things that you forget about, like all of the difficulty and struggle that you're going to have to go through to ultimately get it into a place where it's enjoyable, gives you energy, and hits on the expectations that you expected when you first did it. And even for me, as this podcast has evolved, I knew initially, I wanted to do a podcast because it'd be the right platform for me to just be able to speak about my sort of business strategies and showcase my way of thinking as it relates to business in general. And it slowly started to evolve into sharing a lot of my sort of personal life philosophies. Then we said, hey, we're getting all these videos on our website of people that are submitting ideas for us. It might be great to have some conversations with them, because initially I didn't want to do interviews in a traditional podcast. I just knew that wasn't for me. I didn't want to have like just interviewing other entrepreneurs. The only people I wanted to interview and have on the show was partners and people that I built the companies with. I really love that as like an aspect of like, really giving an insight to, how I build and who I build with, and the stories of what we build. And it's still a part of the show and always will be. But as the show began to evolve, and as I was pushing to like, how can I do more of them, more consistent with less effort, and put it in a place that I really enjoy and can optimize it, it really led to this sort of evolved state of talking life and business strategy, and then really being able to mentor entrepreneurs in both life and business is something that really gave me a ton of energy and was much more fun to produce, and it was easier for me to automate and get it into a system. And that's how the show itself evolved over the first 30 episodes into what it is today, where it is mainly a life and business strategy mentoring show versus just speaking with my partners and founders in business. And the reason it got there, and I allowed it to evolve and get to this place, is because when I started it, I did it knowing that I had to learn it and let it naturally end up in a place that I enjoy doing it the most, and continue to experiment with what that is. I wasn't so rigid that this was going to be the only way that I'm going to do this show, and not allow myself to kind of let it evolve and adapt and grow into it naturally. Now, the goal hasn't changed. You know, I love shooting this show as it's an opportunity for me to in this form showcase like my philosophy in business and life, but it is evolved much different than when we did initially, you know, and in the beginning it was much more difficult for me to do, and trying to figure out how much time it would take and all these different sort of aspects. And it's now been driven to sort of this automated state that I'm able to get it into a rhythm. And then what have I done? I've now planned out you know, when I'm going to shoot shows for almost the entire year of 2022, right? And I was able to do that because over time I evolved into understanding how much it takes me to shoot these openings, then how much it takes me to shoot with each guest, and then how much prep time it takes for each thing. And I slowly made it easier and easier as I learned more and more about it and how to do it and how to do it better to get it into this state. And look, it's a couple examples of how I've gone through the process of you know, really growing into a state of anytime I do anything new, man. I mean, it's hire somebody, it's do a new company, it's have a new partner, it's I don't care what it is. I really go into everything knowing that, hey, it is always difficult at first, and what you have to do is do everything you can to be open-minded about how you can evolve it and grow into it, getting easier and easier over time. And look, you know, now you're feeling it. You're living it. You know, you might go to dyrdekmachine.com right now and be like, I'm making a video because I want to understand what it means to get this type of advice that can drive me with these strategies. And that's what we're ready to do. So without further ado, let's bring on our very first guest. Avi Rubin, welcome to Build with Rob. How are you?
Living large, man. I'm doing good.
Man, tell me about the Iron Lion soaps, man. Tell me about it, man.
Dude, it's soap. You know, that thing that you use in the shower every day that you probably haven't thought about God knows how long. You know what I mean? There's a couple statistics floating out there. You know, we're a couple of dudes here, so figured I'd share the dude statistic with you. But it says 74% of adult males shower with what they shower with because either A, it's what they showered with when they were kids, or B, that's what their wife or girlfriend brings home.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think where do you think I fall into in that category?
I can almost guarantee that you shower with whatever your lady brings home.
I don't.
You're a family man. You got kids.
Look, you would think so. You would think so. And as you hit me with this statistic, I like just started buying like Dove soap when I was like, you know, like a teenager, and I've just always had Dove soap. So like I am the statistic like 40 plus years later. You know what I mean? Like that's really funny.
We'll break the stigma, man. Don't be a statistic
listen
anymore.
to me, bro. I'm going to have to get a soapscription. I might have to you might find my name in a soapscription soon. Because now it's like, why don't you just have a nicer soap? What's wrong with you? You know, it's a really...
I would be honored to keep you and your family clean, brother.
All right. Well, look, tell me about sort of the history of the business and sort of the status of the business right now.
Yeah, man. It was born out of a necessity. I got a real nasty case of ringworm when I was younger doing jujitsu, and we couldn't get rid of it with Western medicine. I got a crazy Israeli mom who came with me to the doctor one day and was like, "This shit's not working. We need another solution." Got turned on to the power of tea tree and essential oils, and one thing led to another. And we were whipping up soap in like the kitchen sink and then the bathtub, and then we were like, "Fuck, we need to make more soap." So we bought like Horth Tross, and we were whipping up soap in there, and it was really just for friends and family and our training partners to keep everybody kind of free and clear of the nastiness. And 14 years later, here we are impacting the lives of who knows how many by changing what they shower with.
Yeah, look, I love the process and the pathway, doing it with the family, your father, and just I can really see just from looking at the website how evolved and mature
Yeah.
the business has become. So yeah, I'd love to kind of get into your questions, because I'd love to be able to give you some insight to what I see.
Well, dude, yeah. Awesome. So let me take you back to like this current year. Really what happened was I had my firstborn baby girl, and it changed my life in like the best way. It's like the greatest project I've ever been like able to be a part of, And one day I just kind of woke up and was like, "Fuck, man, I need to like, what am I doing?" Like I want to, all I want to do is spend time with her. I don't want to grind any longer. I'm down to work, but I don't want to grind. I don't want these 18-hour days, 20-hour days. I want to raise my kid.
Yep.
And we started moving the kind of business, transitioning from a brand to a business. And that's kind of what this year I've really been focusing on. And so now really what I'm kind of at this head where we're getting away from these hobby-ish type tactics and these like for fun type things, and really trying to systematize things, create SOPs, have, standard kind of regimens for different, packing days and shipping days instead of freestyling the whole thing. And it's been just a massive transition. It's been so amazing, to kind of see what I've built, right? It's the first time I've ever zoomed out and really got an idea of like what I've created. And so I guess my question is how do I amplify? How do I continue to do this to a level where I can step away and I only have to be here X amount of hours a day so that I can do what I'm really passionate about doing, and that's raising my girl.
Yeah, and look, and I think you're obviously on the right track. And I think the beauty of systemization is it leads to optimization, right? And that's when you just keep making things better and better and more efficient, and takes less effort, right? The beauty of automation and systemization and optimization is it just reduces how much you have to worry about as it relates to things being done to your standard as the visionary for the business, and then you get into the now it comes down to bodies, right? And
Right.
how many people can you afford to drive this automation, right? Because in a business, in your personal life, as well as your business, you want to automate as much as possible, but oftentimes you get stuck and need to bring in bodies in order to scale that automation to where you don't have to have oversight over it, or they have expertise in it, whether it's sales or operations and these different aspects of it. And to me, that's based off of your core customers. And I love that you hit me with I've got 1,240 core customers right now. And
I know my shit, man. I've been playing around for a long time and taking it serious for a lot longer.
And it's the way that you have to think about it to get to where you want to go. And
Right.
To me, the first thing, my immediate thought was man, this man needs to scale his product offering into that customer base. I go to your website, you got it all. You already did that, right? And so to me, again, I'm like, okay, he knows he's on the right path here and understands what he needs to do. Now it's how do I scale that core base? And now it becomes this troublesome conundrum of, okay, I guess, do I want to spend the money? Do I want to put in the effort to try to market more? Am I going to try to like hire an agency to do Facebook ads and try to convert people? It's like, these are all these things.
That's literally the conversations I've been having the last couple of months. Man.
Right. And it's like the struggle is the business is probably sustainable for you and it's your lifestyle, but you got to do everything. Right. And so it's like, and then spending the money and taking a shot at these things gets scary because like, you know, you're basically just spending your own money to see if you can make more money. Right. And
that's exactly right.
And to me, I think it's one route. Right. I don't know. It's so competitive and so hard, but I do think there are some other routes. Like I think obviously if you know sort of your core customer, I think one alternative way to doing ad spend is doing a deal with them. You know, like where, hey, if you drive anyone to subscriptions, I'll kick you back a piece of the subscription. You guys have been with me the whole time. You know, I think that's a clean and easy way because they already have a deep belief in you, your mission, and what the product's doing for them. That's why this is their soap. Right. So it's like they're going to be your biggest advocate. So I like that as like a simple way. And one thing that, you know, Outstanding Foods, which is our plant-based snack food company, they're just elite at product development. And one thing that they did to drive a substantial amount of revenue is they went to some retailers and made some house brands for them. Right. And it was able to give them this significant amount of additional revenue and great margin with zero marketing, zero brand. It's just built for the retailer, right? And when I think about it for you, it's like, man, like, can you be the house soap for some boutique hotels? Right? Can you know, to where like you're delivering, you've already done all the innovation and created the quality and you understand the manufacturing, but are there alternative pathways for you to sell a ton of product at a consistent rate without needing to market and try to hunt down customer acquisition? That's one that I think would be incredibly interesting to try and go to potentially go try and find, because if you had,
it's so funny. Like it's like we had a beer last week, you know, I hired on like an assistant, right? I gave away a couple of percents of the company for someone to be here full time and handle all the operations and logistics. Exactly like you mentioned. Probably in the next 10 to 15 days, I'm signing with a lodge in Big Bear. We're going to be their official hygiene partner and fill all 27 rooms of their small boutique hotel. So I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Bro, we might as well have brain meld. Like before you even decided to make the video, we were probably sipping tea at the same time, just contemplating the universe and how do we make these babies stronger. Look, there's no doubt you're on the right path because you're getting that. I'm looking at what you're doing. It's very well done, and you know your paths, right? And man, I love that lodge path, and I don't love it as much as we're the official partner, because then now you've got to get branding and all this stuff. I love this idea of you making soaps for them to where it's theirs and they get the alternative and you just get to live in that margin, right? And either way, but man, imagine, because the beauty of it is that soap is just churning 27 rooms of every single day. You know what I mean? Because it's not like the beauty of the hotel is, you know, it's not like they don't let that soap wear down till it's gone and then they put another one in there. It's one stay.
Gone that next morning.
That's what I'm saying. One stay, one roll. So I just love that as just hunting that. And I love that you already have one, because now you can, you have sort of the cost structure that you can present back to hotels of what the opportunity is. And in a situation like that, you're okay with having a much more minimal margin in order to deliver the price that they need for you to have that
To
consistent
keep the
revenue.
revenue cruising.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I back that.
And
I
then
totally back
again,
that.
and then now it's on you to see where you would like to scale. Do you want to spend time and energy in scaling hotels? It might be worth it, right? And as opposed to creating additional content, hiring an agency and doing ad spend, and then them sending back
Right.
test results and like, oh, this worked. And then like you're getting they're going to hit you with ROAS. And then you're going to be like,
Right.
man, we got a 3 ROAS, let's spend. And then the moment you put more money into it, you got a 0.5 ROAS, right? It's
Yeah.
and I don't want to say that in 100% because we have a ton of businesses that don't do well with performance marketing, and we have some that kill it, right? And it's really all product based. And for the most part, the ones that are the most successful are some of our brand Luso Cloud. It's $135 slipper, so it has such a big margin in there. So the amount of money that you actually have to spend to acquire customers is so much bigger.
Nice. Yeah.
I do like the subscription because then like in this game, if you could drive people to the subscription now, their lifetime value could be
Totally. And it makes sense for us because we're a commodity, right? It really only takes one session to realize, I'm either down for Iron Line or I'm not.
Yeah.
Right. And in that instance, most of the time we're a catalyst for change. It's impacted their life tenfold, right? Something as stupid as a shower, right?
Yeah.
So the subscription makes a ton of sense.
I love it. And we just launched Jolie Skin Co., which is a filtered shower.
Yeah, I've been
head.
watching closely, man.
And it's on the subscription model, but the beauty of that model is once you put the unit in, now the friction's getting the unit in. It's actually getting someone across that big threshold and then actually getting it into their shower. But then once you do, you might as well just keep getting the subscription and the filtered water. Like your lifetime value is so significant because the friction's at the installation versus the friction is in like committing to the soap where you can sample the soap all day long. And I would consider like that as another. Like they do it a lot in consumables. We did it at Momentous where you don't have to just buy the soap. Like, hey, get a free sample if you pay for shipping. Like that way.
I've been toying with that one too.
It's like then that way, let me see for myself. Because like
I think I think it's one of the most difficult things to do is we don't have smell-o-vision. I can't tell you I can't sell you a peppermint tea tree formula through the screen, right? I got to be able to tell a story or whatever. But again, the quality of the product is so high that it only takes that one engagement, you know. And so I think that free shipping that's a huge, or not that free shipping, that free sample, pay for shipping or whatever. I think it's a big one.
Yeah, these are these tricks of the trade that always work. You know what I mean? That they just always work, especially
classics.
But it only works for, it works great in consumables because if you try it, taste it, like it, then you're more likely to buy more and then eventually go to subscription, right? I think the soap game is super similar, and all of these are worth taking the shot in order to get one more customer. Right, because it's like everyone counts, and trying to keep that group loyal and servicing them and continually inspiring them and making sure that they stay committed and you constantly deliver for them. And then I think another alternative is I think you could go out and make signature soaps. Like, I think you could go find somebody that you really connect with that has a personal brand or that you think's amazing and go make their soap that you give them a royalty on that's in the line, the same way you did the limited edition stuff, because what you get out of that is then now you get access to their audience. And then okay, now it's a couple more customers that come from their world and you get that earned media instead of paying for it. I just,
and I've seen that come to fruition a few times on a couple random collaborations that we've done. And I've thought about that, right? Like, let me private label something for this someone that I look up to, or someone that has, a cultural connection or whatever. And yeah, man, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, because look, even with Saint Midas, which is the jewelry brand that we have, like we sell almost exclusively to a single retailer, and then on the side, do jewelry for prints. You know what I mean? And it's just this other complete revenue stream that is added to the business that just, again, helps like drive revenue. That's just a super simple, easy thing to do. So, I just think.
Dude, let me ask you a question real quick, if you don't mind. Are you a believer that sales solves problems then? Right? Because my thinking is generate more revenue so that I can hire the proper staff, so that I can delegate the, X, Y, and Z, so that I can go change more shit diapers.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, it's sales make everybody happy. Right. You know what I'm saying? More sales makes every person happy at every business at every level. Touché. You know what I mean? Touché. So again, but you want it with purpose. You know what I mean? Totally. Like you want it with purpose so that and you want it sustainable. Like you don't want to just like have these like flashes that happen. You want sustainability. And that's why all of these traditional DTC markers that we talked about, I think are okay. But when I think about you really wanting to like find more time and be more balanced in your life, like I love these bigger buys, less lifting, less friction of like hotels and private label stuff, right? Because then it just eliminates all of these additional layers that you've got to put it into. And what's your next question? I think your other question was similar to what you kind of just said, but hit me with that one.
Yeah, I mean it was more or less that same thing, is how do I get to that level? And I think, it was kind of back end answered, right? Like it's just make more sales, find that stream that's flowing quicker, right? So that I don't have to worry less about catching, the fish.
Yeah, and look, and I wouldn't say that if you're looking to find more balance in your life in order to spend more time with your child to make a bigger mark on shaping and evolving and being a part of their lives, you got to design that time. You got to design it.
Right.
I think for me, like the one thing that I really did is I designed my time so that I was there for my kids, because I wanted to be like I was there the whole time. It's like I've never missed a pediatrician appointment. I've never missed a dentist appointment. I take them and pick them up from school almost every day. I put them down for nap and pick them up from nap almost every day, except for, the days where I'm out for whatever it is, but they're far and few between. But I designed it. Then designed my life around that, right? And for me, then I only commit 30% of my time to working. And so that's shooting 250 episodes of television, doing, 30, 40 podcasts a year, doing, all the businesses that I'm launching, like managing my wealth and everything associated with my entire existence. I still do it within that 30%. Mark. And it's because I built my time on how I wanted to spend it with my family, left the amount for work, and then got better and better at doing it. And yes, like it required, hiring more people, automating more things, like in order to actually do it. But it started first with like, how did I want to live? And then growing into it over time, and you got to define that. And it's all one design. Like the way your business and the time you spend in it and what it needs in order to back out into the time you actually want to spend in it, because you want to spend that other time as part of your life and that balance and free time and your friends and whatever else it is. It's all one big design. And you don't have to get super detailed. You don't have to be like, I'm going to do this at this day and this at that. All you got to do is put some anchors in the weeks and in the days and just try to stick to them and get better and better at sticking to them. And if they're hard to stick to it, you try to find solutions that will allow you to stick to it. And that's kind of how it works. It's not nearly as rigid as I make it sound often, where it really is just a handful of anchors and living with the intention that you want to be able to be there. And look, I'm on the what does 15 years look like? When I do my life planning, I do my life planning with my time. I know when my kids are, when they're 10 and 11, that I only want to work for around 15% of my time, because I want to really be there from like those super like developmental years leading into like them, being teenagers and making their own decisions. Like I really am like looking out, like how do I like be careful not to take on too much that I am still locked in that 30%. Like by the time they get to that age, I'm so optimized. I'm looking 10 years into the future of how I want to make sure that I build my life to slow down on the work side with intention. And if you start now by doing it, you'll be in the same position. You know what I mean?
Is that something you had to kind of reprogram yourself to? Because I'm finding that I've been grinding for so long that it's hard for me to like put in my calendar, go home, where I'm like, yo, but I could just write one more blog entry, or yo, I could just reply to one more email.
Yes. You have got to completely reprogram yourself. Because you got to understand, you're in a rhythm. This is sort of the rhythm and this has become habits, and this has become a way of life for you. So now you have to re-engineer the way that your rhythm and your systems work together to where that becomes the new balance. When I started it, I could never imagine that there would be, and I designed it in 2015, and I couldn't imagine that I would get up every day at 4:30 or 5 and brain train and meditate and get in the gym, and that I would eat clean and not drink, and that I would track every day how I feel about my life, work, health, how motivated I am, the quality of my sleep, and ask my wife how she feels about our relationship 0 to 10. I would have never.
And look at you now.
I would have never thought it was possible, and now it's like effortless. It's like I love looking at the data. It's part of the way I live. It's like gives me all the energy, allows me to live the life that I want to live. And then what happens? Then the universe conspires to continue to deliver all these blessings and these things that keep driving me towards these clear visions that I have for the dreams and goals that I want to realize, And I know.
And look at that, all that while showering with Dove, man.
Look, all of that with some greasy, toxic Dove dry skin. You know what I mean? So I look forward to getting my soapscription and having some fluffy, soft skin. But it was a pleasure to connect with you. And look, I have the utmost faith that you're going to do everything that we just spoke about, man. Because I really think
Rob.
you got a handle on it. Now it's just a matter of executing.
Yeah, man, it's been my baby's 18 months old. It's been a journey, and I think this reprogramming is happening little by little, and it's just a matter of shutting everything else down and really reprogramming so that I can get to that. I'm hearing exactly what you're saying. It's resonating so much, and it's just a matter of making that switch up here, I think.
That's it, man. Go make it happen.
Respect, bro.
All right, pleasure to meet you, man. Wish you the best.
Likewise.
All right, be good.
Yeah, thank you.
Cody Hankins, welcome to Build with Rob. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Rob?
I'm just looking forward to discussing the vision of wax shooters. I gotta warn you that I've been able to put like some thought into this, and I may have some ideas that are a little bit beyond and a little bit outside of what you probably would think would make a lot of sense, but I think it might make just perfect sense. But before I get into that, please lay out the vision for what Wax Shooters is and your vision for it as a business.
Okay, so it all started off with I used to love going out and like trying different drinks, but it was stupid expensive to do it. Like to get all the ingredients and everything together, it was just so expensive. So I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And my brother, having an obsession with the little wax candies of childhood, we would, I saw a video on YouTube and where they made some jumbo wax candy thing, and I was like, you know what? It'd be kind of cool if you had that in like a wax shooter. That way, you could just pretty much go to the store and have all these different types of drinks that you can try. And then also the recycling possibilities, I believe, are way up there. And so I took and I finally figured out the molding process and how I was going to do it. I took it to like a bunch of friends' parties and kind of got all their opinions and everything else. And I was like, okay, this is actually really cool. And everybody seems to love it. And for the most part, I cared more about the experience of opening it up than the actual what's inside, because what's inside, that's the same as everything else that you get at a bar or this, that, and the other. But yeah, no. And I started getting really, really excited about it. And it's always been a thing back in my head. I even kind of looked into possibly trying to sell the idea, because I was like, well, as of right now, I can't really dive into it that well, but I didn't know how to protect my IP or anything like that. So I started looking into like Diageo.
Diageo?
Yes, thank you. I started looking into them and figure out how to contact them. And there's some difficult people to get a hold of for sure. And yeah, so, and then I found you guys and figured, you know what, this is an interesting idea / concept. I think they would kind of want to hear it. And if you wanted to talk about it, it'd be a fun conversation to have as well.
Yeah, and look, I'm I love when someone drives an idea from like, hey, I think I got this interesting way to do it, and then all the way to where you've created an actual mold and have the actual wax shooter, And right, for the ones that you have now, what alcohol is in the ones you have now?
This is a 420 shot, which is gosh dang it. I can't remember what all the different liqueurs that are inside, but that one's a 420 shot, and this is a beat. I can't remember the exact name and terminology for this cocktail, but it's. I apologize. It's a fruity one.
Yeah, and look, and to me, like this sort of aspect, even Diageo. Diageo is like, the biggest, alcohol business in the world. Diageo's like who buys, a celebrity's tequila brand for $1 billion. You know what I mean? Like they're like the 100-pound gorilla in that space. So even like the idea of getting it to them, they're just gonna, if they like it, they would just start making their own wax shooters themselves. You know what I mean? And I think that that's kind of the problem that you have here in the way you've approached this concept, right? Like I think that you don't. It's not really defendable. You can't like patent like putting alcohol in a wax shooter, right? So now it's this idea of like, and you got to go and use other people's alcohol that you've got to mix in here to get it. So now you're a form factor that's a middleman. So as in one of the most complicated industries in the world, right? Like alcohol, you can't just make wax shooters and sell them online. Right? Like you got to go through distribution, 3-tier distribution system, state by state, get a license in every state to even sell alcohol. Extraordinarily complex, right? I've had 3 alcohol brands, and I would never do another alcohol brand again unless it was some, deeply unique idea with someone that had deep experience in navigating these incredibly treacherous waters that is the distribution regulation on a state by state basis, as alcohol is. It's the biggest nightmare in the world. Are you familiar with how it works?
I've been trying to look into it, and I've been trying to do all the research that I can. Yeah. And it is a very complicated, complex scenario to dive into. And it's definitely a brain buster for sure.
That's what I'm saying. It's busted my brain And like I live this, you know what I mean? Like, and so to me as a young guy trying to like create something who came with a unique idea, like I think the route that you have chosen is almost impossible. It's almost impossible, okay? And to me, for all of the reasons that I just mentioned, but I think above all is it's still the value proposition to the actual end consumer is and to the potential retailer on premise, off premise, as they say in the alcohol game, meaning in a bar or in a liquor store. It just isn't enough as it relates to it's a mixed drink that's in a wax shooter in the experience. Now, so this is where I just want to take you and have you think. Because when I really started getting into looking at the Lalise Nik-L-Nip, which is the most insane name. It's like the hardest thing. The name that those little bottle candies that you crack open and drink that have this delightful little taste. They're called Nik-L-Nip. Nik-L-Nip. It's it's literally the worst name of anything in the history of mankind. The company Lalise is at least, got a nice roll to it, but they owned the entire market. They are the ones that own the market. But it got me thinking, right? Why do we love those? Because it's this really cool experience of biting off the bottle and then drinking it right there. And it's like, what flavor is it when you drink it? What type of drink is it in your mind when you drink one of those?
In the sense of like little wax candies.
Yeah.
And it depends on which one you get. Now, honestly, like it's like the orange. Like that's like it's like a juice.
Right. It's like a juice.
Orange. Yeah.
It's like a little juice, right? And it's like, okay, cool. Like this is a fun little thing and a sweet little thing. It's like a candy, but it's a drink. And to me, when I look at this and I really began looking at like the form factor, it's like the actual opportunity in my mind for you is to not become a bottle and a bottle replacement, but it's to become a brand, right? Like if you created your own shot, right? Like similar to Fireball and Kamikaze and one of these type of, you come up with like what this shot is, and it's these bright colors and it's in this wax and the form factor is just like, this looks more like a big syringe and you rip that off and drink that. And it's like taking a shot of whiskey, only it's this like fruity flavor and like a unique experiment, but you own it all. Right? So rather than going out and trying to license or try to make a bottle, you're making this cool, fun form factor that has this new, unique shot that tastes really great, that now it sits at a bar on the bar top and somebody says, give me one of those, whatever you call it, wax heaters, like wax burn, whatever you end up with your brand. Then they're like, I'm going to have my gin and tonic and take one of these shots because you chew it off, spit it, we all shoot it together, right? Like that's where you actually have pure white space to be the one of one and create your entire own brand, right? And to me, even if it's wax shooters, if wax shooters has this fun, colorful look and feel, and each wax shooter is the equivalency to a shot of vodka, right? Has, 67% alcohol and it's like 2 ounces, whatever it is. I don't know what the metrics are, but now you got something. And so here's where it gets different. Now, instead of you needing to navigate and figure out how to build an alcohol business and go through all this brain busting, you go and make your form factor with some, you just put some food dye and some alcohol, vodka or tequila and make like a really cool shape, right? And then you go and take that to manufacturers of other and distributors of other alcohol brands, not Diageo who owns them all, but you go to like a small independent manufacturer and bottler and say, hey, you have the licensed and the alcohol. I have this form factor and way to create this and a vision on how to market this and how this could be put into bars. So basically then you now have the original brand and idea that's defendable. You have now a one-of-one product in the entire market space that now you go to this bottler and manufacturer who's going to be like, wow, this is amazing. This is something we've never done. Like, we know we could sell this to all the bars we sell to and all the liquor stores we sell to. This could be a massive business. Yeah, let's partner with you. You handle the creative and marketing. We'll handle the manufacturing and distribution. You know what I mean? And I know that was fast and a lot of stuff, but, you know, one of the things that I think about a lot when I get videos from people and pitches is very much trying to understand their range, right? And when they're looking at an opportunity or creating a company idea through the lens that they're creating it through, right? And it's very difficult for young first-time entrepreneurs who see an idea to actually to understand sort of the ecosystem that you've got to satisfy in order to actually create a business that is successful beyond just a good idea, you know, and then complement that with your skill set. And so to me, since you proved you had the wherewithal and the ability to go out and source and get alcohol into a waxed bottle, you proved that part. Now, I would challenge you that you are way better served to make a super fun brand and go put it in there and focus on how it looks sitting on a bar top and sitting in alcohol and pitch it as an additional revenue stream to bars and liquor stores. And once you get that dialed in, then find manufacturers that are much easier to have a conversation with, because they already do private label bottling for other alcohol brands, and they're co-packers for other alcohol brands. So they will at least give you the cost structure and take the meeting with you of what it would take to create it. Then you could Trojan horse that with like, hey, well, I could really use a partner in manufacturing and distribution. And even if they don't do it, they'll be like, wow, we can't do it, but we know this person that might be interested in this, right? That now is a much more plausible path and potential path to realize this idea that you have. Can you connect with the vision?
I can, and I really do. I'm going to probably have to ask for a recording of this so I can listen to that about a dozen times, really kind of get into it. I really, I like the take. I'm a complete open book in the sense of I'm always open to other people's opinions and other people's advice. Some, whether I take it or not, maybe not, but especially whenever that person knows a lot more in that industry than I do, I'm all about sitting down, shutting my mouth and opening it. And I know that getting into the business is complicated as all get out. For my trade, I'm a welder, so I've been also building stainless steel smokers. I'm in the Midwest. People love smoking their barbecue. Yeah. So I made these smokers that have stainless. I've been making these smokers that have stainless steel, because stainless steel is never going to rust out. You go to Walmart and buy yourself one of the, say, Oklahoma Joe smokers. They're carbon steel, so they end up getting rusted out within 3 to 5 years, while stainless steel will be there for another 20. But getting everything figured out, getting everything resourced, oh my gosh, that was the undertaking of a lifetime. And then welding everything together. It's fun as can be, though. I love it.
And look, and then on the other side of that, it's all on you to go through this long, arduous process to make one, then you sell one. And you got to find a complete new customer, right? Like in that particular business and world, it's really all about the scale is so incredibly difficult. But look, you got the spirit, you know what I mean? And every one of these that you do, you're building additional knowledge and skill set as you evolve and grow in life. And it doesn't matter what it is all of this is playing a huge part in your evolution. And, you know, every few years, you're going to look back at like, wow, think of like the original idea versus what it became. You know what I mean? And that's really, truly a part of like having an entrepreneurial mindset and growing and learning over time. So look, to that point, I'd be interested to hear your sort of life vision of kind of like how you see your ideal life in the future based off of where you're at today.
As of right now, my goal in life and what I'm searching for is, well, yes, I do search for financial freedom. I would love to be able to go, all right, honey kids, let's pack our stuff up, go to Florida. Like, not have any kind of worries in the terms of, oh, we got to save up, we got to do this. Like, I would love to find that financial freedom, but I also, I have that entrepreneurship mindset, and I'm a bit creative spirit at heart. I love the idea of being able to do my own thing. I love the idea of being able to evolve that thing, change things up, and just have all that creative ability to change. Like, I just love the idea and vision of being my own person in terms of business or anything like that. So that being said, I don't know how that's going to end up working out, whether it be the wax shooters, whether it be my smokers, whether it be something that I come up with 2 months down the road. I'm keeping on going with these ideas and just kind of looking into them, maybe not impulsively ADHD jumping into it, but at the same time, like just kind of analyzing, going, okay, this seems like a cool idea. Let's go ahead and research it a little bit and see what kind of happens from there. And if it ends up keeps on going. But I would love to find that sense of freedom. That is my main goal, is to just keep on pushing towards that. And with that, I need to work on my own finances. I need to work on what I'm doing, like I do for my own finances now, so that I don't mess up in the future whenever I actually have a chance to have that freedom. Like, I know there's a lot of things I need to work on to get there, but that's kind of.
Yeah, I love it. And
Yeah.
You know, I've been really making this a part of really putting pressure on people on the show of like, tell us your life vision, because it's difficult, and when you're forced to like think about it, it's usually a lot of people's first time, because you're usually head down, just like working, trying to survive while trying to do the idea that might be the thing that changes your life. But I think you have the right approach, right? Like, put an anchor in how you would like to spend your time in an ideal way, in an ideal world. And then that financial freedom is a huge part of that. And beginning to learn now at this stage, even if you save a little bit of the money you make and put it into that financial freedom pot now, and you begin to understand how you're going to build that. And then like when you build the business, it's your goals inside the business are equally about serving and supporting that vision that you have for your financial freedom. This business, it could potentially be a means to accelerate that if it finds the success, if you create clarity in that from the onset. So you actually had a more advanced way of looking at sort of the different systems in life that you should be thinking about compared to some other people. So that I have talked about it so far. So I think you're off and running. And I think it's great for someone like you to constantly be thinking about it, because the more you think about it, the clearer you will get, and then the clearer you get, the more likely you are going to be to get there. You know what I mean? All right, look, Cody, I appreciate going through the exercise, laying out that vision. I appreciate you being open to what is a pretty substantial change in the idea, but I really think you got something that has a lot more potential if you kind of follow that route. And go back and listen to this thing a couple times. You know what I mean? Once we throw it out there and think about re-engineering the idea from there, because I think if you do that, you have a much higher percentage of seeing that thing come to fruition. Because I think with that strategy, it could be something really cool that does happen and comes alive.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Rob. Thank you so much.
All right. I look forward to seeing wax shooters in my local liquor store in the future. You know what I mean? Woo! Another episode of Build with Rob. Man, gotta tell you, I mean, I say it every time at the end of every show, how thankful I am for everybody that participates in this show, that listens to this show, who sees the content and comments and shares and is like, oh, I believe in that, Rob. I believe what you're saying. Oh, that's the truth right there. I really, really enjoy seeing everybody's feedback. I'm thankful for everybody that's come along and being a part of this show. And again, you want to be a part of it. This is for everybody. Let's talk about life and business. Go to dyrdekmachine.com, make a video. Next thing you know, it's me and you having a virtual mentor session. Again, if you're not necessarily someone with a business, looking for business and life strategy, but you want to engage in what we're doing down here, you can always become a machinist. You can also sign up to do that at dyrdekmachine.com. But, to everybody out there, thank you so much. And I know deep down in your hearts that you're going to decide to build the plan for your life. I know that you're going to make sure it's crystal clear to you and that you're going to take the action so that it always and forever happens and rewards you with manufacturing your own amazing existence. A little thing we call see it, believe it, do it. Till next time.